importantly, tonight, want to jump right into why we're here, right? And it's for our student athletes. So I have some stellar student athletes here tonight that I've asked to come and really bring my report to life in terms of from their perspective, right? I can tell you all about all the great things we're doing, but it's much better when you hear it from their perspective. So I'll kick it off with them introducing themselves.
Oh, thank you. Hello, my name is Cale McClarty. I am a senior, and I have been playing sports all my life. Right now, I'm currently playing golf, skiing, and also playing tennis, with skiing probably my favorite.
Hi, I'm Deborah. I'm a freshman. In seventh and eighth grade, I played volleyball and softball. Currently, I'm on JV volleyball as a freshman, and probably my favorite sport is volleyball right now.
So both of these student athletes were members of our Captain's Council this fall. So I asked them to speak briefly about what was the theme? What was something that you took from the Lunch and Learn Captain's Council meetings this fall, and how maybe did you apply it to your team or maybe beyond your team?
So one thing I learned at the captain's lunch was that to lead other people and to be a captain, you actually have to start with leading yourself. Now that's a big kind of role because as a captain, you gotta, show up to practice on time. And that's when you're really kind of tell your other teammates to show up on time. You have to be on time to practice, you have to try best, and then you can kind of start helping your teammates out and then leading by example. So I think that's a main kind of rule that you have to put.
Fantastic. Deborah?
One thing I learned that you have 80% is what you do and 20% is what you say. So people see the 20% as a vocal leader and 8% as your active, like what you're doing. I've applied this to academics and more. This has helped me through on the court too. Say you made a mistake during a critical moment, you can always go back to the next play and redo and just refocus and flush it. And you can always just like go back, and 20% you can always just refocus and also talk to your teammates, and that also helps. And that just helped me carry out through on the court. And I've learned that you can always fix things with words, but also your actions.
Fantastic. Kaylin, can you talk about your opportunity to participate in our athletic program and where you think that will benefit you? You're about to graduate here and head off into the world.
Yeah, so playing sports for me on a team, and basically all the sports I do, no matter if they're individual, if you're kind of on your own, it's still a team. You're participating as a team, you're going for the championship, you're trying to win matches as a team. And I think being on a team just really helps you communicate with others. It kind of starts that lesson. It starts you young where, you can have that conversation with a teammate where you're kind of, you're giving them advice or you're helping them out. And I think communication is just a real kind of big thing that you learn from sports at a young age.
Fantastic. Deborah?
I think participating in athletics will benefit me after I leave high school by taking what I've learned through the rough times and the celebrations, that there will be some ups and downs in life, but there will eventually be a green light for a path. You might once hit a stop sign of doubt or a speed bump of disencouragement, but there's always something that you can find through that gold little path from the Wizard of Oz that you can find, and it'll always like upbeat you and you'll be okay.
Fantastic. Another area that we talk about in our athletic department is our mission, vision, and values, right? So our mission statement is to develop better athletes, better people. And I'd like Deborah to talk about, well, what does that mean from a student athlete perspective when you hear that?
I think this means as a student athlete that you are improving as a team player and an athlete, then you will become a better person in society. Being a better person can get you farther in life by giving you opportunities that you've never gotten before without these. Developing better athletes means that developing better people in this world can lead to big change.
And our vision statement is 37 sports, one team. What does that mean to you as an athlete?
That everyone is a part of a team, even if you do different sports. It doesn't matter if someone's older than you on a different team or older than you on the same team. It means that you're teammates and you show respect for one another. That also means that you see each other as role models and as an example throughout the game.
Fantastic. And then finally, our values is to create a development zone. Can you talk about what that means from a student athlete perspective?
Yeah. So our development zone is all about being a triple impact competitor. A triple impact competitor means that you're making yourself, teammates, and the game better. Making yourself better means that you are mentally growing and physically growing. You're making yourself the best of your abilities. Making your teammates better means that you're showing interest in improving others while improving yourself with them. You show that you want to grow with the team and show consideration and dedication. And lastly, you're making the game better. You're making the game better by having a better environment for yourself, teammates, coaches, officials, and spectators. Having a positive environment and having fun makes it so everyone can function and have a healthy and very energetic environment.
Thank you. One of the areas or other parts that we talk about with our mission, vision, and values is we call them pillars, and that there's 4 pillars of our athletic mission, vision, values of our program. And in each pillar, we set a target. So our first pillar is lifetime skills. And the target here that we set was we want to teach character development connected to an annual book study that I do with the athletic department. And I talk to the coaches about a goal without a plan is just a wish, right? So we wanted to put a little bit behind that statement of developing better people, right? We wanted to have a curriculum, if you will. So we're using our annual book study for that. This year, our book study was The Mind Gym, and we picked out mental toughness. And I'd like Deborah to talk about how that's being implemented with her team.
Mental toughness now leads to the 7 C's, which are competitive, consistency, courage, confidence, and control, composure, and committed. My coach, Abby Lynch, has personally talked to us about many of the C's, but ones that stuck out were competitive and consistency. Competition can be very serious and straightforward. The definition for competition is having or displaying a strong desire to be more successful than others. You can display a strong desire to win, but in such a way that it's good sportsmanship. One last C that we've learned is composure that ties into this. I have personally, this season, learned a whole lot about composure. I used to get all upset. One second. I used to get all upset when I would make a mistake and I would shut down completely. But that meant my team would also shut down completely. We wouldn't communicate, wouldn't lift each other up, and wouldn't function like normal. People saw what I was doing and mimicked my behavior to theirs. This leads to 80% and 20% that we learned in the captain's meetings. I saw my actions and my behaviors reflected an image of myself as an athlete. I've grown to be okay with mistakes because that shows that I'm not a perfectionist and that I have stuff I can do to make myself better. Understanding that you are not the best is yet okay because that shows that you have stuff you can do to overall be a better athlete.
Fantastic. Our next pillar or tenet is access and opportunity. And the target we have here is to monitor our participation rates along with our enrollment and make adjustments as needed. And I'd like Kalen to kind of talk about what he's experienced in terms of this pillar.
Yeah, so I've actually played tennis for 4 years now, since 9th grade. And when I started, there wasn't a modified team. So I had to start in 9th grade. I didn't really get the 7th and 8th development period. And now they just, I think, added a modified team. So that, I think, helps younger kids kind of develop up through. I've seen that in golf. And for another example, I also do alpine skiing, which is a really small kind of select group. Not really select, but only a couple kids do it. And we wouldn't really have a big enough team to do it on our own, Lake George. So a couple of other schools like Bolton, Warrensburg, they helped us out. They helped kind of merge our schools together, made a team so that kind of all of us could be on the same team. All of us had the chance and opportunity, which is a really big thing, not only for me because I got to do the sports that I wanted, but also kind of for the school because it kind of helps increase the sport size, helps increase athleticism, and just positive attitudes.
Fantastic. Our third tenet is quality coaching and instruction, our third pillar. And the target here is to utilize the Positive Coaching Alliance workshops and coach development program. And again, I'm going to ask Kalen to kind of talk about his experience with PCA and with our coaches.
Yes, so at our captain's lunch, we learn all about PCA, which is really important because we learn about PCA to communicate with our coaches. Our coaches, they go through the same PCA kind of mentoring, tutoring, so that when we have a talk with them, we can kind of understand what they want from us, also what we kind of need from them. A couple things are kind of like the elm tree, effort. That's a big one. And they know that, they understand that, we understand that. We can kind of communicate with that and kind of set standards for our teammates throughout the year and what we need to do.
So it gives a common language between you and the coaches.
Yes.
And the last pillar or tenet is community and parents. And our target here is just to foster volunteerism and active engagement with our Athletic Booster Club. And maybe you can talk about from your perspective.
Yeah, so community, parents, they're everything in sports. You want your family watching, you want them there. And I think that's a really big, important idea that kind of kids playing sports have. And that's also important to parents because they want to volunteer, they want to show their difference, and they kind of want to help out. And we kind of show that support through sports with the Booster Club. Sometimes parents will volunteer at the concession stand up at the top. And it just really helps them being there, helps them volunteer, kind of creates an opening for parents to be in their life in sports.
Fantastic. Want to finish with just a last couple slides, then we'll open up some questions. Again, I'm sure you've seen this slide many times. Our enrollment projections, our current enrollment and where that's going to take us. And obviously we're having those same conversations in the athletic department and what does that mean for athletics. We've come up with this idea of kind of a three-step process. Step one being ideally before step one, if we have the numbers in a program, we want to have a modified, a JV, and a varsity, right? A developmentally appropriate program. But if the numbers do not allow for us to have those three levels, we would then go to step one, which we call consolidation of levels. We see this in a lot of the teams and sports that we play. They do a modified, which is 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. They don't have a JV, and then they have a varsity team for those that are ready for that varsity level. If we're already at step one, where we have that consolidation already occurring and the numbers continue to decline, then we would head to step 2 or 3. Step 2 being to investigate a merger, look for schools in our region that maybe would make a good fit to keep a program going. And potentially step 3, we haven't gotten here yet, but if a merger is not a possibility, if the numbers don't sustain a program or sport offering, we would need to potentially talk about that sport not being an option here. Not a conversation any of us wants to have, but one that needs to be brought to this table. That we're looking to be innovative, but with our enrollment, there's only so much that we can sustain and maintain. I put on the other part of this slide our current mergers. So just as a reminder, for football, we are merged with Warrensburg and Bolton for the Wolverines. For wrestling, we are merged with Warrensburg for a combined wrestling program. That's for both boys and girls wrestling this year. For alpine skiing, as Kaylin noted, we're merged with Bolton and Warrensburg for skiing. And then for boys ice hockey, we're merged with Queensbury. So we're already kind of at this level for some sports, right, and keeping these opportunities with our enrollment. I want to point out a couple of slides here. This is participation data for the last decade in terms of athletics. The number on the left is a raw number, and then the bars on the right are percentages, right? So this is our participation rate for fall sports, 7th through 12th grade. And really the takeaway here that I like to point out is as you look at the bars, right, on the left, they're going down, right? Our enrollment is going down. That pool of students we have to choose from is going down. But really importantly, if you look to the bars on the right, our participation rate has been steady, if not increasing. So people say, hey, you're telling us enrollment's going down. How are we maintaining all these sports? And the answer is right here. Our participation rate is phenomenal. In the region, I don't think it's matched. And that's how we are maintaining our programs. We are maximizing every student in this building and involving them with our athletic programs. And that's how we're maintaining programs. Again, similar slide. This is for winter sports, right? The number on the left showing you, it's been going down. But if, again, you look at the bars on the right, our participation rates, again, have maintained, stayed steady, if not increased. And then the same thing, this is our spring as well. And you're seeing at the very least a steady amount, if not, an increase. Lastly, I'd like to point out with participation numbers, this was last year, right? So if you took it overall, we had 90% of the students in this building engaged with at least one of our sports programs, and that's how our programs are so successful. I attribute that to the amazing coaches and staff that we have that are engaging our students daily, and our students want to be part of our athletic program and keep coming back year to year. Lastly, to close before we open up to questions, and you'll hear more about this in the future, but we are very, very proud and pleased that we were recognized by Special Olympics nationally as a unified champion school. There's 10 standards that you have to show that you are doing, and they're very clear. This is not an athletic specific award. This is an award related to the culture we are creating in our school. It does come in through the unified sports program, but to be named a unified champion school, it's much bigger than just the sports that you're offering in terms of unified. And it's really a reflection of the student athletes and the staff that we have here. So we're very proud of this award. There's going to be much more as the year goes on around this, but again, wanted to point out that we have received this award, and we'll be doing some more announcements and celebration around this. Would love to thank you again for your support and open it up to any questions. Lastly, I just want to say I'm taking them on the road. I didn't pay them. I should pay them. They were phenomenal, but an example of what our athletic program and school is putting forward, and some amazing students right here.
Give a round of applause to our students. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you very much, Deborah and Kaylin, for being here tonight. We're all here for you because of you, and we love having students come and talk about their experiences, and that it feels really nice to have you here tonight. So thank you. It can be a little nerve-wracking to stand up, and so thank you for being brave, and thank you for being leaders in the school. Leader in Me has an official name at the elementary school, but you have really demonstrated tonight leadership through athletics, and I loved hearing the developing better athletes, better people. You both spoke quite a bit about how your athletic experience carries over into other parts of your life in who you are and how you operate in the world, and that's really a wonderful thing to hear. So thank you for sharing that and making it such a well-rounded presentation. Lots of good news. Do we have any questions, any comments from?
Deborah, thank you for your preparation. Was incredible. That was really a great job. And Kaylin, I really enjoyed. It was great to hear about the training where you and the coaches, like you were saying, kind of learned the same language. When I think of how many times there might be a frustration just because of a lack of understanding where each other are coming from between the athlete and the coach, that really makes a big difference. Thanks for telling us about that.
You all did a wonderful job. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it. I just wondered though, Kaylin, you're on the ski team, which is merged. Does Bolton or Mooresburg have a captain's council like we do? Do you hear the guys talk, or people talk about it? And I just wondered, I was curious because it's pretty impressive. I mean, our program that we have. So I just wondered if other students talked about it. So thank you.
And the mergers not only allow us to have the sports, but what a cool thing to get to build relationships with students from other districts and have that time together. And kudos to the unified championship school. And when you talked about that's more than just having the sports, it's the culture. And I think having a more than 90% participation rate speaks for itself. That doesn't happen without a positive culture, and it's more than just playing the sport. There's that camaraderie and team What am I trying to say? Teamwork, yeah. Thank you. So thank you so much again for being here tonight. We really, really appreciate it. Very good. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
And now, Scott, that's a really tough act to follow. I'm sorry about that. Up next, we have Scott Preuser. Am I saying it right? Preuser. I'm sorry. We have a Steve Preuss, and I always get that confused.
Yeah, I was.
Preuser. Scott Preuser. He is going to present the audited financial statement report. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight. I'd always like seeing like an educational piece or anything, because then you don't really think about it, but the finances are a big part why you're able to do these programs and allow these kids to do all that stuff and having, good, that's why we're here, we're not as exciting as that, but being able to have that, you're able to provide all those things to the kids. I'd like to thank the audit committee, which I met with a couple of weeks ago, went through the whole financial. I went through, we had one recommendation that we went through. Looking at your financials, you had non-modified opinion, no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, no areas of non-compliance, and your extra classroom was unmodified. The financials were presented fairly in all material respects with generally accepted accounting principles. Before I get into the more of the numbers, I just want to thank your business office because they do an excellent job, and that's always important for the board to be able to rely on that and have the information timely and accurate. And especially with times get tougher, it's like to be able to have all that information quickly. And they do a great job, and they're very timely. Of whenever we're up, it's not just a couple days. We start in the spring. Actually, we start before the springtime. We actually start planning before April, and then we're up here in April. And then it's like pretty much every month we're here, like a day or two, all the way through. We met in September and then the board meeting in October. So it's a long process, and there's a lot of information to get together, but they do a great job of doing that. So I just wanted you to know that. Looking the financial status of the district this year, you ended up with a good year. Again, assets were 9.8 million compared to 1.7 liabilities, and your fund balance was over $8 million. And then looking at that, this year you were able to replenish some of the reserves that you had used towards the transportation facility, which is another thing that we always recommended, that how you could reduce, what you have to borrow, what you have to go out to the taxpayers. And that's always a positive looking forward. So that now you were able to replenish the reserves, and you have like over 10 reserves. We love to see that because that's going forward. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know what's going to happen with federal funding. When federal funding goes down, then it kind of affects New York State too. So going in the future, you're not sure, right now everything is okay, but going in the next year or two, what's going to happen? And you've set the district, the district is set well to have all these reserves that can be used for different things. Besides having, like I said, a long list of reserves, you also put money back to our taxes, and you maintain the 4%, which is over $1 million. So you kind of cover everything, looking down future, you have the present, and that's what, we like to see that balance. Like you have pretty much every reserve that's out there that the districts can use, and that's what we like to see. How you ended up this year, you had over a $2 million surplus. A lot of it was taking advantage, like on the revenue side, taking advantage of the money you did have. You invested it wisely, and that you got the maximum interest rate that you could get. And that's what we always like to see. The money is not just sitting there. We have some districts that, don't even earn the 1%. Or like, why not? Aren't you doing that? And then your district goes out, gets the max, and puts it into that and watches it very closely. And that's very important. And besides that, you actually ended up with more state aid. And overall, you ended up with over $1 million more than what was budgeted. So that's a definite positive. But that's you've earned that. You actually went out and, helped out the district. On the expenditure side, we like to see, you spend 94 to 97%. And your district's always consistently in the same area. Like the last 3 years, you spend 95%, 95%, 94%. So your budget's always, is fair and it's, reasonable. And it's always, like you said, it's always the same percentages. That means, you look at how you budget every year. You don't have fluctuations, which we see at some districts. And so that's another positive. At the end of the year, you had over almost $9 million of cash at June 30th. So looking at that, you're set up the district for the future. A couple of things. This was the one recommendation we did have, and we kind of discussed it in the audit committee, was the school lunch program ended up with a deficit this year. And that was yet operating loss of over 50,000 compared to a transfer of 30,000. And it's very hard. It's nowadays, you're in line with a lot of the other districts because we do 30 something districts and we only have a couple that are able to do it without transferring from the general fund. And your lunch program is very good and you don't, the costs related to keeping up a good program. We have some that you might be able to make money, but the program, what they offer to the kids is not as good. And I've always, all the years we've been here, we've always heard compliments about how much they like it and stuff like that. Looking at a couple other things, your special aid, which was your grants, you finished up all your ARP and Carissa, that's all done now. Now you're back to just the regular title grants and the IDAs. Hopefully though, like this year you did get them all. Going forward, I don't know there's no idea what's going to happen with the Department of Education. So that's one of the things, like you're setting aside money for different things. That's, the other thing that will be changing. Another thing your district always does, I know you're working on your transportation facility, which is a big project, but you always add in the $100,000 capital outlay project, which is great because you were one of the, one of the earlier ones that get on that and start doing it. And what it allows you to do is yes, 100,000 doesn't go where it used to, but at least you're able to cover some areas every year and you return the aid the next year. So it's always positive to be able to get that into your budget and you've been doing that. And looking at one other item, you have over almost $600,000 in your debt service, which means that could be used for future debt payments. So going forward, I know you're right in the, your big transportation facility project that can be helped to use, alleviate how much you have to transfer for principal and interest going forward. So like I said earlier, you're set the district up with good planning and that's what we like to see. Is there any questions or comments?
Scott, thank you for your work and for your presentation and thank you, Bonnie, and to everybody in your office for all that you do to in the planning stages and all throughout the year. Well, planning is all year long. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody's good. Oh, I'm sorry. I
guess
think we do have a question.
One question, and
Yep.
I think it's a dumb one, but I'm going to ask it anyways. The school lunch fund.
Yep.
So is that saying we should just budget for more? Like, I don't understand how the school could be profitable or anything besides sliding money around. on a
And that's
service
the
like
thing,
that.
it's either you transfer more or like some of the districts, they move the benefits. A lot of the biggest thing is covering the benefits. And then you can allocate the benefits back to the general fund. So there's two ways to do it. You could transfer more from the general fund and have all your benefits there, or you could have some of the benefits covered by the general fund. Kind of like you do with the federal programs. They don't cover all your benefits. It covers the salaries.
Right.
So it's just more of an accounting way. Which way would you like to do it?
So I guess it just makes more sense to front load the,
So
Line item?
it is something we reviewed a lot at the Audit and Finance Committee because of his recommendation. When we get to that part, we'll explain about how we're gonna move some funds
okay,
to adjust the profit and loss statement of the cafeteria.
okay.
So it was an excellent question.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything else? Thanks again.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the elementary update with Mr. Jim Conway, our elementary principal.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So I want to start off by mentioning the Bob Ross Memorial Golf Tournament, which was held on September 20th. And I mentioned that Coach Conway played in that, who was much better than Mr. Conway. We had a foursome, and so did Mr. Mondella from the junior senior high. And the Ross family continues to support the district in Bob's name, not only through scholarships for graduating seniors, but paperwork came out today that our staff will get tomorrow for the opportunity for up to $5,000 worth of mini grants to support our instructional program in some dynamic ways. So I wanted to mention that because it's something really unique and special, and Bob, in memory of Bob. Fall Festival, thank you for those of you that were able to attend on the 26th of September. We had that annual event. The front of the elementary school was packed as always, and I know that it was very profitable for our PTSO, which allows them to support many, many programs for us. Also, thanks to the Lake George Fire Department. As you know, every year they come in, and John Kokoza, LG grad, no relation to Mr. Francis Kokoza, but Johnny does a tremendous job, along with many other members of the fire department, sharing information. You girls lived through that, about fire safety. And our kids really, they know all of the answers. They know what to do. God forbid they ever have to put it into practice. But thank you to the Lake George Fire Department. I want to mention kind of a unique thing that's happening on October 28th. The National Association of Elementary School Principals will be in Bolton for the School Administrators Association of New York State Conference. And she's visiting a couple of schools in the Capital District, and she's going to stop by Lake George Elementary School. So we're very excited to host her on the 28th. Her name is April Knight. And I'm excited again for her to see some of the good work that's going on by our staff and students at the Elm School. Final thing, Veterans Day, and Ms. Meyer is in the audience. We've been talking about this year on Veterans Day, music by our students, and Mallory and Tommy Sokoloff will be leading some students in song and playing, and we are expecting a C-130 to fly over. I don't have the exact times, as you know, Mr. Kokoza. It's a process with this. So it's in the works, most likely in the morning, and I'll share that information with Mr. Lutherian when we have it. And then finally, just our action teams. Our cabinet action teams are very busy at work. I shared some information recently about the building level goals, and I'll provide an update as far as where we're at with that work next month. So that's it.
Questions? Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the secondary update with Mr. Frank Koza, our secondary principal.
Thank you, Katie. I just have a quick few items. First, our forum met today, and we developed our goals for this year, just like Cabinet. Our focus this year is going to be evaluating our extracurricular clubs with the lens of student development, and reevaluating and refocusing our Rock Solid Leadership Program with, again, the lens of student development. So in the coming weeks and months, you'll be hearing me talk about those two goals of our shared decision-making body. Second is open house was last Thursday. The gymnasium was packed. A few of you were able to attend. And I know some community groups were there as well. Rosemary was representing the Scholarship Association. So our new model of open house appears to be a success. It was not just a one-off success last year. So I'm pleased that it has not only become a way to re-engage with our families, but also it's a community night out. So Chef Jeff provided food. That was a huge hit. Maybe that's why it's not profitable. I don't know. But it was a huge hit, and a lot of food went out the door, but also it became a very social event. So we're pleased for the district's support of that event by allowing our cafeteria to serve food for our families. The feedback that we've received from staff is they love it. So Monday, we have a parent visitation scheduled day. After that parent visitation day, I'm going to ask parents for their feedback about open house and parent visitation to see what adjustments need to be made there. And finally, next week is Spirit Week and the pep rally. I'm not sure if our student board members will be speaking in detail about the Spirit Days, but I'll go through them real quick. The ever popular Pajama Day. Mr. Conway is going to be spirited that day, right, Jim? Iconic Duo Day, Grade Color Day, USA Day, and Laker Day, followed by the pep rally on Friday. So we're excited about that. I know Sarah Barton has shared through John some community events with you folks. Please pay particular attention to Baskets for Ben, Kringle Cottage. Those are two outreach events that our school helps support. So your participation or support for those worthwhile causes are appreciated. And then finally, the Youth Commission Halloween Parade that our high school supports as well. So that's my update.
Okay, for these. Yeah, the board's already.
Yeah, what are those? Are those bags? Nice. PBS.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for Labor Day. They weren't kidding, so. Thank you. Does anybody have any? The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Miss. Oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Yes, I skipped over on my paper. Student board member report. Thank you, Annie Fish and Libby Pape. Thank you. Thanks, Rosemary, for keeping me in line.
So it's been pretty busy start to the school year, which is great. So a couple things that we have to talk about tonight are, so homecoming, the date is set. It's October 25th, 7 to 9, I think. And yeah, Libby's going to talk a little bit about Spirit Week and the pep rally.
Yeah, so what comes with homecoming is the big lead up. And we planned in student council our pep rally, and we have some really fun games and activities scheduled for that. So we're really excited to see how that goes. We've got Georgie's going to be there. It's going to be a good time. And our Spirit Week days were shared, and so we're very excited for that. Everyone's got their outfits planned. And with Spirit Week, we really wanted to revive our social media for student council this year. So we made a bunch of promotional videos for each day of Spirit Week. So we're excited to put those out to kind of get our social media presence growing for student council this year.
One other thing was the polar plunge is going to be happening soon. And the people from our school that are pretty much like running the thing are Hope Farrell and Miss Chapman. They're really big parts of this event. And so the theme this year is sharks and lifeguards, and they're making videos so that there's awareness. We're looking to get as many students possible that we can to participate. It's raising money for the Special Olympics, so that's a great thing. Another thing is, so me and Libby, we were both in the same Spanish class, and there was a big presentation about social media. It was really interesting to learn about how other people feel about social media and their opinions.
Yeah, so we did a whole presentation in Spanish about it. We worked on that for a long time, and they all came out really good, so that was fun to see. Yeah, so student academics and student life, a big thing that for me that just started was the Rhapsodies in Blue, which is our school a cappella group. Yeah, so we've got our group set for that. We had auditions and everything, and it's starting out, and we're really excited to see how that grows this year.
Yep. Another thing related to the music is I just went to the Castleton Music Festival in Vermont, and it was a great experience. The band director was amazing. I went last year too. It was just a great experience to be able to play with a bunch of other people from around our region.
Another thing that connected us with people from our region, I'm on the volleyball team, and we just had our Power of Pink volleyball regional tournament that was at Queensbury, and it was a huge event. There was tons of schools there, and we raised over $55,000 for breast cancer research. So that was really big. It was a really fun day too, so it was cool to see everybody supporting that.
Another big thing is The Little Mermaid is the musical this year, and there's been informational sessions that are starting up, I think November 7th and 11th. So, yeah.
And I think most of you probably know this, but we had a student board member training at BOCES. And that was a super cool day. We connected with a bunch of other schools and learned more about our position here on the board.
We validated our practices that we're doing in the district and the election process. Our process was by far the best. So
And we had two major takeaways and goals for this year. The first one was identifying ways to elevate the voices of the student board member in the school. So just working on how we bring awareness to what we're doing here and how we develop that with other students, and just making sure people like know we exist and how we can support them in the school.
So another thing kind of connecting with what Libby said was connecting to the elementary school students through the lighthouse. So whenever that starts up, we were thinking we could go in and talk to them and just let them know what their role is. So maybe when they get up here, if that's something they were interested in, that they would know.
Yeah. And that's all we had. Any questions?
Several of us had the opportunity in the evening, the same day that you did your training, to train us to be, better at a board with student board members. I don't know if anybody had any comments or thoughts on our evening, any takeaways from our time there.
The info that I saw that I'm glad you guys referenced was the process
Mhm.
in which the students were selected. And yeah, I agree. I think the way that the school decided to follow that process was much better than what we saw out there, and definitely the right way to go.
Well, and that, I think that plays into the shared decision-making. Like we had tasked the forum last year to give us feedback for us to decide how we wanted what we wanted the process to look like from many aspects, being, how did the student board members, how are they chosen or elected? We had a lot of options. And so that was a takeaway for me too, as well, Mario. Like I felt proud of our process and felt proud that we had so many voices to help us land on that. So I had the same feeling on that.
Yeah, and I got to follow up with these ladies after we all went to that conference, and they were already way ahead of me with, I wanted to talk to them about setting goals, and we were totally on the same page. They had identified some great things to be focusing on this year, and so I look forward to them being able to jump into action. So
Thanks for your report. I thought it was great to see the perspective of the student. A lot of most of your pages that you wrote on were still up for us to see that evening. So we were able to see your comments in perspective, and I thought that was really enlightening. But one question, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. One question, how is it going with the phones, no phones? Is that, you didn't report on it, so I think it's fine, but we heard in September, but that was like a week after school started, so.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't commented on it in our little blurb that we write because honestly, it feels like there's not a change. Like it feels like it was so seamless, and it feels like everyone's adjusting really well to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
yeah, I
Good to
agree.
hear. Okay, thank you.
That's awesome. And thank you, Janine, Janine is the mentor, the official mentor. We all have that role as board members, and we're mentoring each other because you guys are mentoring us as well as we, in this inaugural year. But Janine's our official mentor, as a board member. So thank you. I know you guys, they're going to meet regularly, and you also have your meetings with the superintendent and the high school principal. So there's a lot of opportunity for all of us to grow in this role. So thank you. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Now it's the superintendent's report, Mr. Dunlap.
There's so many comprehensive reports. I think I'll shrink mine a little bit here, but Just want to again congratulate our students who presented tonight, and also congratulate the junior senior high school. I know Mr. Manny spoke about the Unified Champion becoming a national banner school, but it's a really big deal. There's really not many schools, in particular in New York State, that are recognized for this achievement. And I know many of our teachers are in the audience, and it's a tremendous amount of work goes and credit goes to our teachers as well, cultivating that atmosphere in the classroom, in our building, meeting the 10 standards of excellence. A big special thanks not only to Kyle, but also to Christina Howe, Katie Chapman. They've been integral in bringing this to life among many others. So it just really kind of exemplifies that the collaboration, the spirit of our building, starts the elementary and works itself all the way up here. So there's a lot to come with this. I'll be attending Friday nights, the big kickoff of the Special Olympics. So there'll be a little bit of a recognition there Friday in Glens Falls, and then much more throughout the year. But it's really exciting, and it's continually improving too. It's not something that's stagnant, so it's constantly trying to improve. And then every 4 years you can reapply. So it's an exciting moment for our district. We also had a wonderful staff conference day on Friday. As I know, we had our first superintendent's day, a tremendous amount of work. Again, I just want to credit not only our district administration, our principals for their leadership and leading a bunch of different workshops throughout the day. We started off getting everybody together, the PK through 12, all of our teachers together to continue our work on strengthening and supporting our students through bringing to life an MTSS system. So that was great. We got a lot of great feedback. There was a lot of engagement. We look forward to continuing that work. There was more work around literacy in the elementary, focusing on the literacy briefs, the big 6 competencies of reading instruction. So that was a great day as well. And then, curriculum work, in the junior senior high school, the committee met on master schedule as well. So just a really great day of learning for our teachers. So I just want to thank them and all that were involved in bringing that to life. Speaking of that, October is Cybersecurity and Digital Citizenship Month. I see Bridget out there somewhere. So, and I want to thanks to Megan Coker, our Director of Innovation, Curriculum and Technology, for putting together really great workshops and lessons for our students, can go all the way from elementary all the way up. So there'll be lots of lessons and guide room activities, media literacy lessons. So really kind of an opportunity to kind of bring some of that to life for our students as well. And then finally, I know there was a little bit of a preview, but it is School Board Recognition Week. It always happens in October. It actually is, the day is today. It's the official day, which sometimes it falls on this week. But again, I just want to express our sincerest, gratitude, for your commitment to our school district. It's so crucial in guiding Lake George, the work that the board does. And so much of it happens in committee work. I know, Katie, you talk about that all the time, where we come together once a month for our meeting, but there's so much work behind the scenes that you all do. And I know Marianne's not here tonight. We have our student board members as well that's part of this conversation. But we recognize that you're serving and dedicating time to our district in a volunteer capacity, right? There's no compensation because you're doing it because you care about our kids, you care about our teachers, you care about the work that we're doing in our school. And it starts with you. It starts, with you supporting our district culture and leading the vision here. So I just want to thank you for your service, your dedication to our kids, your commitment to excellence, and we're really grateful for your continued steadfast leadership and supporting me and all of our employees here. So I just want to say thank you. It's a little token of our appreciation, a little a nice tote bag. There's also some Lake George stickers in there, and so again, thank you so much, and we look forward to a great rest of this year and continued future success. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? The nice lead in, John. Thank you. The next sections are our committee reports, and we have a handful of committees. We do a lot of work in committee. Those are open public meetings and meet, depending on the committee, a variety of, some are monthly, some are a few times a year. So the first committee report this evening is Audit and Finance, and Mario Fasulo chairs that committee and will give that report.
Thanks, Katie. We reviewed July and August Treasurer's Report and Claims Auditor Report. The revenue activity for the 2 months it did include $96,000 in interest, $89,000 in federal aid for retiree drug subsidy, about a little over almost 115,000 in state aid, and 59,500 in insurance premium payments. This is on the business consent agenda as items C and D, the treasurer's report and the claim auditor's report. Business consent agenda, item E, Scott reviewed the external auditor. The one thing I want to just reference it is he spoke about the business office, and I think you can use the word fortunate, however you want to say it. They do a great job of maintaining a certain tempo on allocating funds and reserves to keep us in good shape. And I appreciate everything that Bonnie and her office does. And Scott every year comes, and every year we're fortunate enough to get a solid report from him. We reviewed 2 bids for the cupola restoration. This is going to be business consent agenda item L. This is part of that 25-26 capital outlay, $100,000 that Scott also referenced. We're recommending that the district accept and award the job to AJ. Thank you. Construction in the amount of $68,450. That was the best bid that came in. They also did previous work for us. They did the chimney and they did noon events. The district has been very pleased with their professionalism and the workmanship of the jobs that they did. And then we spent a lot of time on the food service fund, which included the profit and loss statement from 24-25. And then we looked at the last 4 years as well. During this time, revenues have increased 3.5%. Just like we see at the grocery store, you see if you go out to eat, the expenses have risen. They've gone up 16.8%. The reimbursements rates have gone up 20% since 2021. Additional federal assistance has decreased and will no longer be available to us. Food costs we've seen go up 5 to 10% annually, about 29% over the last 4 years. Again, this is the same trend that you see in grocery stores. Labor costs have gone up 14%. The state of New York minimum wage has been increasing every year since 2020. And the benefit and health insurance costs have also gone up 29%. So, but despite the 15% increase in enrollment and the participation rates have gone up for breakfast and lunch, 103% for breakfast, which I had to email Bonnie about because I thought it was a typo. I don't remember talking about that number, but we know, and it's not opinion, it's fact, and there's studies. We know what a good start to the day does for a student and their ability to learn and retain and be aware in the classroom. And that's important. We've also seen a 2% increase in lunch. So revenues have not kept pace with the expenses. We reviewed some recommendations to ensure the sustainability of the lunch program we currently have. We feel that a different type of lunch program would not be as good as this one. So some recommendations include maintaining the general fund transfer, which we've done typically. That's a best practice that this school has done and many schools do. Looking at additional grants and partnerships. One thing that the business office does really well is seek out grants, and they're usually ahead of the curve on them and first to the line on getting grants. Not to say they're guaranteed, they're not guaranteed, but we have a good track record of getting those grants. Looking at research and education on food waste. How do we educate students and faculty on, how much we want them to waste or not waste. And there's always going to be some waste. And then the big one was reallocating the employee health insurance cost to a general fund. That will reduce the burden on the food service fund's expenses. That's all I had. Did that answer your, that was a great, right.
Yeah, it was more a surprise that it was actually noted in the audit that, you had to move money to cover food services. We made a decision years ago that breakfast is important, meals are important, we're going to feed the kids. Whether it gets funded and how it gets funded, how that funding changes over time. Not that it's immaterial, but sliding money in the budget doesn't seem like it warranted a note in an audit.
Yeah, it's obligated to do that, and if it's supposed to be break even, so June 29th, you're supposed to have all your books done.
Right.
See that you lost and then do a transfer. He gave us that opportunity, to be quite honest, but knowing one of these recommendations, I wanted to show the history, and I also wanted to show the cost of the health benefits and be in line with all of our other title grants. We absorb the benefits through the general funds, so this is the only third fund that we don't. So that's why we said, let's keep it as is, and yeah, it's work we have to do, you know, and then next month you'll be approving it, but it forced us to really dig deep and do a thorough.
And what I can say from attending the Audit and Finance Committee as a community member before I was on the board, the funds that we used to that we still transfer over to the cafeteria fund would cover everything. And it was break even though, and Scott would talk about that. But because the insurance cost has gone up so much, the cost of goods of the product and labor has gone up, it doesn't cover it anymore. So now transferring that out would put it back to that break even.
The other thing is you can't be profitable more than 3 months of an operating cost.
Right. Oh, and that's why I didn't. I'm happy. Thank
So
you.
you're either break even or 3 month profit.
That's fine. Okay.
But that's a great question, and I appreciate that. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. The next committee report is the Policy Committee report, and Marianne McKenzie is the chair of that. She's not with us this evening, so she asked Jeff Meyer to give that report. Thank
All right.
you.
Sounds good. The policy committee did not meet in October, but I believe you do have the minutes from our September meeting, which at the last board meeting, Marianne, despite the minutes not being prepared, essentially walked everybody through that. So if there are any questions about those minutes, we're happy to answer them. As for the October status update, there are 3 policies moving forward to second read, some policy and administrative regulations, the business of the annual district election, and the annual organizational meeting. I don't believe there were any significant changes in either of those when they were during first read. The policies being proposed for first read are the school safety plans. It's an Erie One BOCES update reflecting some new language relative to training for staff and students about building level health systems, and the district-wide school safety plans, and some suggestions and clarifications as to notifications to parents and students about when drills are occurring, how they're occurring, and making sure that we're staying in line with best practices. The other policy second read is the executive session. It is kind of a routine policy manual review. The suggested revision is essentially just trying to clarify and provide as much information as the board can reasonably provide as for the reasons for entering into the executive sessions. Unfortunately, if you disclose too much, you void the reason for the executive session, but if you don't disclose enough, it doesn't give the public sufficient understanding as to why you're meeting outside of the public. So it's just trying to clarify that distinction. Submission of questions and propositions at the annual election. Again, this is a routine policy manual and just kind of improving clarity of the language that is being used within the policy. Next policy for first read is public access to records. Again, it's routine policy manual review, trying to update the website and policy and procedures to make sure that it's clear to the public as to how they access and submit Freedom of Information Law requests, as well as the procedures that the district will follow in timely responding to those requests. The last policy that is added for first read are complaints and grievances by employees. It is routine policy manual review. There was one suggested revision connecting the policy to other procedures. There are 3 policies that were reviewed with no recommended changes. One was the gender neutral single occupancy bathrooms, record management policy, and the equal employment opportunity policy. Lastly, there's 3 that are kind of moved to discussion at the November meeting in addition to the regular review. One is smoking, tobacco, and cannabis use. And the second is alcohol, tobacco, drugs, and other substances as it relates to staff. So that is the update. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jeff. The next agenda item is public comments, and we don't have anybody signed up for our first public comment section, which is items regarding things on the agenda. And we have a second comment period for other items at the end of the meeting. And I'll review our public comment procedures at that time. By the way, if somebody didn't sign up, the reason we have a sign up sheet is just to keep things organized and have contact information so we can get back to people. So if somebody had a comment related to the something on the agenda for this period, they're welcome to make that comment, even if they haven't signed up. And if you're joining us remotely, you can send your comment or question to voe@lkgeorge.org, and the superintendent and board members will get that, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. The next item on the agenda is our school business consent agenda. And we have a consent agenda. We operate that way to be efficient with our meetings. Tonight was a good example of wanting to have plenty of time to do a presentation, and we had our students here, and we had multiple presentations. And by having that consent agenda, it allows us that extra time. The consent agenda moves quickly, but it represents a lot of work from our administrators, our staff and teachers. The board spends a lot of time preparing for meetings, reading through material. And anytime there's an item on the consent agenda that needs to be a standalone item, that can be pulled for discussion. So off we go with our consent agenda. That is the next item on our list, and I'll turn that over to John.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the school business consent agenda items A through M. In quick summary, item A is the minutes from September. Item B is recommendations from Committee on Special Education. C, D, and E are in reference to, they were talked about in the audit and finance minutes, include treasurer's claims and then the annual audited financial statement. Item F is the junior, senior high school response to intervention and AIS services plan. Item G is the elementary RTI and AIS services plan. Item H is items declared surplus of no value to the district. Item I is the policies moving to second read. Item J is the agreement between the school district and the SASTA, Southern Adirondack Substitute Teacher Alliance. Item K is in reference to the district's ability to use BOCES for support in software that teachers can use and a school can use in support of Educational Law 2D. Item L is the recommendation to accept the proposal from Catalfamo Construction in the amount of $68,450 for the capital outlay project. And item M is a motion to officially accept a donation of $3,268 from community members and former colleagues of Sherman Parker. As you may recall, that funding was collected throughout the community for the district to purchase a lamplighter bench and a plaque that will be installed at the boys soccer field.
So moved.
Second. Do you have any questions? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the faculty staff resignation consent agenda.
As recommended by the superintendent, be resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the faculty staff resignations consent agenda items A through B. Item A is a motion to accept the resignation of Jeffrey Bennett for the purposes of retirement from the position of social studies teacher. Item B is a motion to accept the resignation of Randy Allen from the position of full-time groundskeeper cleaner.
So moved.
Second.
Do you have any questions, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the faculty's, I wanted to say thank you. Thank you to those folks for their service to the district. The faculty staff appointment consent agenda is the next item.
As recommended by the superintendent, be resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the faculty staff consent agenda items A through F. Item A is a motion to appoint Sarah Carmen to the permanent position of administrative assistant. As presented, item B is a motion to appoint Joseph Kane to the probationary position of groundskeeper cleaner. Item C is a motion to approve the appointment of Jessica Benjamin as a long-term substitute teaching assistant. Item D is a motion to amend the coaches list, the volunteer coaches list. Item E is a motion to amend the extracurricular and co-curricular list. And item F is a motion to amend the substitute rates for this school year.
So moved.
Second.
Do we have any questions? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the Board of Education comments and discussion. And I wanted to, I meant to say this at the beginning of the meeting, but thank you to our teachers and faculty and staff that are here this evening. We appreciate having you guys attend our meeting, so thank you. This is an opportunity. I'm going to turn this over to Janine. One of the topics that we are going to talk about tonight in our board comment discussion is the resolution packet that we got. And Janine did some training today, and she is our representative this year on Thursday for the meeting. And we have had the opportunity to review that, all the board members, and thank you very much to our administrators for reviewing that, giving us input and your perspectives on those resolutions. And so, Janine, do you, I was going
Well, ditto on that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciated the input I got from the administrative team, but also from fellow board members. So it's the most wonderful time of the year with the delegate meetings. So I don't know, I guess I'm curious, and I think it'll be an interesting experience. If anyone still has any comments about any of the resolutions, I don't go live till 4:00 on Thursday. So feel free. Like I said, I did get some input from Marianne and Katie so far. If anyone else has that, if you feel strongly about any of the resolutions that are either being supported or not supported by NYSBA, by all means, shoot me an email, because what I'm going to do is I'll pull everything together so that I can look at everything that everyone has sent me as the resolutions are coming up. So yeah, it should be long but interesting. So
well, I'm really glad we're committed. This is the most committed I've been to taking a really deep dive this year. Other years I've done some, but have not done it to the level that really it deserves. And not only for us as a board, but in support of the person who's representing. And I will send with the detail, but I support numbers 1 through 23. There was a few that I really strongly support. Scott Brewser made reference to the reserves. There's one of them is advocating for a reserve for I think it's health insurance reserve. I can't remember which one, number 14, I think it was. And so if there's discussion on that, I would strongly support that one. There was also one about recess time and having that as count as part of the curriculum. I would highly support that one. Like give that one strong support. I support all of them, but there was a couple that I felt like really strongly about. The three amendments. I oppose those amendments and strongly oppose number 2, which was recommending that we don't have feedback from that committee. And I think the importance of that committee review and feedback that we have in the resolution packet. I mean, it's kind of like what we do. That's shared decision making. That's like what when we ask Forum for feedback to help us make decisions on how our student board members were going to be with us and how we're going to operate with that. So I feel like I would very much advocate to not have that change. There was one that was not necessarily, there wasn't a strong opposition to it from the committee. It was number 34. I would actually support it. And it had to do, it was similar to number 14. It had to do with recess. And I think the piece of that was because there wasn't a definition about the elementary school age. I would still support it if that one came to vote. I think, that was maybe splitting hairs on that, but yeah. So, and I'll send you, those details.
Thank you.
But
that is a big help.
Yeah. You don't feel like you're there alone. As Rosemarie spoke very honestly last board meeting that, she felt like she could have used more support from the board, more feedback from the board, because you are representing the board and what our culture is and what's important to us.
Yeah, you feel strange, voting on things without feeling like you're carrying anybody's feelings one way or the other. So, yeah. So I really do appreciate it.
Does anybody have any questions or anything other than that? Well, thank you again for that work.
Oh, and also on an not related to that same topic, we did want to let you know that the Buildings and Grounds Committee did go over the charter again for us in our meeting tonight. So that's been actually, I don't think we're making any changes with it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So it as it stands on the
Yes.
website now, it doesn't have to be changed.
Yes.
Excellent.
That's correct.
Okay. Does anybody have any other topics? Any other things? Okay. The next item is our second public comment period, and we'll review our public comment procedures. The Lake George Central School District Board of Education welcomes district residents, parents, and other interested persons to its meetings. Community involvement at board meetings is encouraged so that the board can better represent and understand the views of our constituents. Please be aware that by law, individual student information or particular personnel issues cannot be discussed at public sessions of the board. When you come to the microphone, please tell us your name. Statements are limited to 3 minutes. After you have made your statement, please be seated. The board and district staff take public comment very seriously, and careful notes of questions and concerns will be taken so that they can be addressed as soon as possible after the meeting. The board generally does not respond to comments during the meeting. The first public comment, I already said, that's for items on the agenda, and the second is for any other items. If you're attending virtually, same as what I said in the beginning, just send an email to boe@lkgeorge.org, and the board and the superintendent will get that. I will call individuals up to the microphone in the order of the sign-up sheet, and if you didn't have an opportunity to sign up, you will still have an opportunity to make a comment. Thank you in advance for helping maintain a safe and respectful decorum for our meeting. So on the second public comment period, I have one person signed up, Heather Usher. Welcome, Heather.
I just wanted to recognize our Buildings and Grounds crew at the elementary school. They do an amazing job. I benefit from them daily, as do the students. We had a puddle in the gym. Shannon came running over And the bees have had a banner spring and fall, and Les has been amazing every time. I'm like, this is happening, come quick. And they just do a great job. So I wanted to publicly thank them.
Thank you very much, Heather. Is there anybody else? Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is a proposed executive session. Do me, you? Okay.
So moved.
Oh, I do. Oh, okay. I thought this one, okay, sorry. Sorry about that. As proposed by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lake George Central School District hereby will enter into an executive session to discuss pending litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. And will you say that thing for me, Jeff? I forgot to write it down. We
Board doesn't anticipate taking any action after the close of the executive session.
Thank you. Yeah. See you next month.
I wrote that down.